with the Spring concepts. So previous to that, you have any idea about what is Spring, why it is used? Have you completed your core Java things? Okay. So we have the Spring actually into two different category. One is core Spring. That means it's a desktop-based application. And the next part is Spring MVC. And that is model view controller architecture. So both the category we will cover the Spring. Basically, it's a framework. And the framework means it's a semi-built application. More finished architecture. We have already all the APIs are available. You need to use that. Okay. So get the output. So let me share it some brief introduction with the Spring. I can see now you have 17 or 18 have joined. So let's start the sessions. Okay. So first of all, Spring, all about this thing. So basically, Spring is a powerful, lightweight application development framework. So what does it mean by the framework and all? We will discuss shortly. Today, the main objective is introduction to Spring. We will cover the topics related to the Spring framework, what is the use of it, the benefit and all. So that and important aspects like dependency injections. We have concept, dependency injection, and inversion of control. Okay. And the examples related with XML based DI. We will use setter injection and then constructor injection. And if time is available, then DI with annotation. Instead of XML files. So these are the main objective of today's session. First, we'll introduce the concept. What is Spring, DI, IOC, and then examples to make your understanding of the topics. Okay, so first of all, what is the introduction part? So I think I'm audible, right? Okay. So this framework basically, and it's a Java framework, development framework. So what it means, it's going to build, it's a semi-built application itself. So the code is already provided. We need to integrate that things into our coding programming, and it's we can build, we can create Java applications Java application, and desktop based, we can create desktop based Java application, and the JEE applications. So both we can able to create with this. So that is the major two separate part of it. Initially, we'll start with the core concept of it. So what is framework? So the framework means in a broader sense, it can be defined in broader sense. Framework can be defined as a structure which will solve many technical problems. Okay. So the framework means it's a semi-built application. It's a structure which we will able to solve many technical problems. And the person who has started this invented, his name is Roderick Johnson. So he is an Australian computer specialist. So a specialist and founded in somewhere in 2004. So last 18 years almost, this founded 2004. So that, and the current version of Spring is roughly 5.320. So the current version of this is latest one is 22 May 22. They have invented this 5.3.20. So currently the Spring framework, we will see what are the features of it. So that benefits which I have talked just now, features of the Spring framework. First of all, lightweight. So it is a lightweight framework. What does it mean? Have you done with projects with the Maven? Have you used Maven projects? You have any idea about the Maven? You can write in the chat box. Okay. So if we are using the Maven, we are using with the dependency. Previous to that, it was kind of we used jar files. Java, we can have the application sharing. There is no exe kind of it, unlike the .NET environment. Here we have to share our code through the jar files. Suppose you develop one project and you want to share it to me, then using the Maven, we can build and we can package it into the jar file and share it. So the compiled code will be shared and contains the bundle of the packages and the classes. And when I include in my class path or in build applications, so then I can use the project which you have created, their APIs. So that way we can share the code actually. So because source code is something some third party user has developed that, so it's obviously that third party people will not share you the code, source code. They will compile it to one jar file which contains several packages. If you have done the JDBC maybe during the Java, so that time you would have noticed that you have to add the MySQL jar or Oracle jar file. So that third party vendor added those drivers they have provided, and those drivers are into the form of jars. But here, if we are going with the Hibernate, JPA, other technologies, and microservices and all Eureka servers, so we have to add those jar files, and it will make very heavy actually the project. So we have a remote repository, Maven repository. So if you search for the Maven repository, so here you can search for the suppose Spring. So we will get this Spring here, and the latest one you can see 5320. Simply we'll copy this one and add to our com.xml. So what is the role of Maven? Before Maven we have ANT, any near tool. Maven is a build tool. We can build Java project, we can build dev projects. And then through that we have this concepts like we add the dependencies. Once we add the dependencies, then it will download to my local system in the user. So C users and the name which you have, your laptop name. So you can see that .m2 folder is created. So locally it will save the dependencies over here. This repository is created by default .m2 folder. Next time onwards, you don't have to download it. It will take from your local system. So Maven makes the things very lightweight. And jar files, if we go with that, it will make project very heavy actually. And that's why this dependency things are very popular for this project purpose. So we can say that Spring is a lightweight things. Spring is a lightweight in respect to the size. And then we have the inversion of control, IOC, the features. What it is IOC means? Here we will achieve the loose coupling. Okay, that is an important term. In the Java, actually, it's a tight coupling features. If you have done the aggregations today, I will start with the Java examples and how the Spring actually has the benefit on the Java coding. So we'll explain through the code. But inversion of control is the loose coupling features which we are adding actually. So the object actually gives their dependencies instead of creation of looking the dependent objects. So objects will be into the passive state, and in a XML file or something, an IOC container, we will access that bean file. So it's an inversion of control. If you try to understand in general terms, like if suppose if we know how to cook the food, so that's like we can do our own, right? So, but if instead of that, let's say I know how to cook food, but the inversion of control maybe like instead of cooking the food, we can directly order from outside. So where where we have to receive food at your doorstep. So without directly cooking the food, we are ordering this to outside. Thus, the process of food delivered to you at your doorstep is called inversion of control. So that is a kind of general aspects that the class-to-class dependencies will not be there. There will be IOC container will take care of those aspects of object creations, wiring of the beans, managing the life cycles. So that control is not with the class itself now. So the inversion of control is a kind of principle which is based on the dependency injection. And it's like the example which I have said that instead of cooking the food, we can order outside and let the delivery executive deliver the food for you. In this way, you don't have to take care of the additional responsibilities and just focus on the main work. So this kind of concepts are there part of that. So through the coding, we'll explain that what is this IOC and the dependency injections we have. So what is that dependency? So in a class like DI, you have several attributes. Okay, suppose we take int ID, and I'm just explaining through the concept itself, string name. So suppose we have a class called customer class. Now the attributes are ID and name. These are the dependencies for this class, ID and name. Now this dependency will be having required to have some value. We need to assign some value, ID equals to. So those getter setters we are using it, and through the object we set the value as you have done in Java encapsulation and all. But this value will not injected. These are the dependencies, ID, name, whatever the attributes. We will use XML file in which we will set those values. So it is called dependency injections. You can use the setters, okay, setter method, setter injection, or constructor, and otherwise we have the collections also. Okay, now why we need these things? For that I will explain through one Java code first of all, so you will understand the concepts behind this dependency injection and what was the problem, so that we are going to achieve the loose coupling kind of. Okay, so have you heard about the aggregations in the Java? Anyone have any idea about aggregations? So it is in terms of the dependency injections. No. Okay. Inheritance you have heard of? Yes, yes, that's great. So to understand the Spring dependency injection, first of all, you have to look back to the Java inheritance or aggregation, because these are the frameworks which provides the technical problem solutions, which the Java is not able to do it. So they created their own APIs and they resolve this problem. So inheritance, we know easy relation is there. Okay, in inheritance, easy relation, like Maruti is a type of car. Okay, and like Swift is a type of Maruti. Maruti is a type of car. So you can see this easy relation inheritance, single level, multi level. But there is a hazy relations also that we called aggregations. So aggregation means has a relation. For example, every mobile has a SIM. So SIM is a dependency. Without that, mobile is of no use. So we'll create the object of A into the B like that. So during the Java learning, this topic is very important for the Spring perspective. When we do the inheritance, single level, multi-level, that time we need to cover the aggregation source. So here, like, what is the meaning of it? So I'm writing it. Let's say when an object, suppose A, contains to another object B, or object B, or we can say that object A has a relation with object B, then it is termed as aggregation. So it is called aggregation. So what is the benefit of it? It helps in reusing the code, and we can. So what is the purpose of inheritance? Reusability. Here also the same thing, and we can say like object B can have utility methods and which can be utilized by multiple objects. So that type of aggregations, there is a problem of interlinked class to class dependency. Because if your object A contains the object to another object B, okay, so that means if I make some changes in object A, object B will not work. That kind of dependency association you can understand like directly coupled with that. So these things like through the example, let's see. You have the Spring STS, Spring Tool Suite. Okay, okay. This is the environment provided. Otherwise, those who do not have, they can directly download it. Okay, okay. So please download it. It's a Spring Tool Suite. This is the environment, and this is the website of Spring. If you scroll a little bit, it's like Windows X, Windows 64, 86, and all. So you can download this one and extract it, and you will able to get this icon of Spring like that in my desktop. If you have seen that, this one, Spring Tool Suite, this green icon. So when you double click, it will start, and this is based on the Eclipse platform. So because since it is provided by the Spring people itself, so we will use that. Those who do not have right now, they can still work with the Eclipse. But later on, Spring MVC and all, we have some more like finished applications and microservices level. It's more robust. So we need their its own ID. So if you are not doing currently, it's okay. But you can download it and use it to start doing it when things will progress. We will use this one. Okay. Now, first of all, you know the project creations, how to do it. Go to the file, new. What is the There is no difference wise. It's a Eclipse based also. Spring provided its own environment. Uh, see here, you have new Spring starter project. So the boot things, etc., which we will do it, you will see the difference. Here currently, it's like if you are doing in the Eclipse, it's okay, it's no problem. Core part, core Java things, if you are doing it, but in the advanced level, you will feel a lot of difference. You have to create separate projects, download it from spring.io, initialize it, and then you have to import in Eclipse. Here we can directly do this Spring Starter project. Okay, so the environment is given itself where we can create our own this thing. Yes, yes, yes. Jar we will not do in the Spring things. Lightweight purpose we will avoid the jars, dependencies. The dependency also we don't have to do it externally because right now it's something which will progress. We will explain that here you are copying the dependency outside, but we have the Spring Starter project where whatever the dependency you will select, it will automatically add it. You just search it and it will add, and it will download and add to the pom.xml. So it's very advanced stage of ID given by the Spring environment. So it is preferred to use this. Otherwise, you will do indirect operations with the Eclipse to do it. You will download it from their website, that starter project, then you will zip it, unzip it, and then import it. Long process. In the development environment, a lot of time goes to the configurations. We have to avoid that. Especially in the Spring MVC boot level, you will see a lot of differences. So it's right now it's okay. If you're doing in the Eclipse, no problem. But later on the advanced level, we have to manage. This is ideal. Means when the Spring itself has given, and it's a Eclipse-based platform. You won't feel any difference with that Eclipse. Same environment. Okay, okay. So now see, first of all, we go to the file, new, and we'll take a Maven project. Okay, so in the other tab, search for Maven project. Now, Maven means it's a build tool. It will build Java project architecture. It will build web application architecture. I hope you have gone with the Maven things. You have to download the Maven and manually you have to do it. Because it's like the curriculum as I was told, like you have done all those things. So I'm not taking, but manually you have to download all these things, which I cover with different MNCs. So Maven, this microservice Maven, this one. Like you have to download and then extract the Maven, and manually you have steps to build and create the Java projects, artifacts like that. So you can see this Maven things. Ambient repository artifacts, and through the command line we can create this Java project. App.java, hello world. These are the steps. What you have saying joined, I missed something. No, I've just started a brief introduction about the this Spring core Spring. Okay. Through the coding, I will again explain it because theoretically it's better that through the coding examples we'll explain the concept again. Okay, don't worry. Okay. Now it's okay? Okay. So the app.java, these things, you have a Maven download actually when you type on the drive. So it's a Apache, Apache group, sorry. We have this Maven latest 3.85. Download, and everyone should go through the command line manual operations to create one Java project or web projects. Okay, so that is part of that starting learning purpose of the Maven. But since we started with the core Spring, so I will take it directly through the UI. Okay, so you can do with this directly. Those manual operations if you have not done, so no problem. You can directly do from here also. File, new, others, select for Maven. You will get Maven project over here. Next, then next, select internal and search for quick start. So this is a build tool. It will build a Java project. Maven archetype quick start. If we want web project, we will go with the web. So Maven archetype web app. So their architectures are different. For MVC purpose, we will use this one. For the Java project perspective, we'll use catalog. It's a category actually. All category, different vendors have provided different types of Maven central, default, local, internal. So Maven repository are into various locations. It is provided internally when you install this, or there is a central repository. Maven dot blog is there, so it can download from that remote repository. So internal means within this STS itself. Okay. So you can go with all categories. So it is there, and in the internal we get shortlisting these things. It is available here, archetype. Okay. So the catalog is internal. That means internal to this STS. We are able to get this. This is already installed. Yes, yes. Architecture type. So what is this Maven? Build architecture type. It will give you the Java file folder structure. If you take web, I'm not taking the web right now. It's quick start. So you will see this quick start. Let me click it. Then we have the group ID. Okay, so these topics are part of the Java things which we covered earlier also maybe. But let's see this group ID. Group ID means your group name. So suppose you are working for simply learn. So simply learn. So I created this group. And the artifact ID means the name of the project going to be. So for example, I'm going with the DI, Dependency Injections. So the project name will be like that. Okay. And then finish it. Let's see this started downloading from the remote repository. Because the architecture type it is there, but it will build a Java project over here. You can see this architecture, src main Java, test/Java. So here, the Java file will be kept over here. JUnit Mockito will keep over this test.java, and one additional file folder we need, that is resource, where I will provide the XML files. It will not build its own. You can create right click on this. Only two types: quick start and web app. Currently quick start till core Java, Spring Core. Yes, yes, yes. quick start when we are doing the core part of the Spring. Web when we are doing the WebMVC. Okay, so that I will also show you the architecture. 1 minute. It's a good question. So this is the Spring architecture. First, you see this testing environment, JUnit Mockito. Then the core container. We are doing the beans and core. Then we will do the AOP. Okay. Then after that, ORM. Now these things we can manage with the normal core part of it, quick start. But the moment we go with the web container, servlet, web MVC, that time we need archetype web applications. So core part will be covering all these things. Then finally we'll use this web MVC and then okay. Because you were asking us, that's why I'm not so sure like every time I have to click that. So see this yeah. So this architecture you need two type of only built things architectures. One is quick start for core Java, and we will learn this bean and core. This is yes, yeah, got it. Okay. No, it's this architecture I was wanted to discuss, but I will start before starting the Spring things. I will discuss that. Right now, I'm discussing the part of it, the transitions from the Java to the Spring with the aggregations. So here these things are created. Now right click on that, new, okay, and not new, build path, configure build path. And in this we have the source, add folder. So we have to add the resource folder because you have seen like the resource folder is not there, right? SRC main resource. So we'll create a new folder, SRC source code, that means main slash resource. Next and finish. Okay. Or if you update that also, it will. What you are asking? Please, can you repeat? Okay. Right click on DI, project name, artifact ID. Go to the build path. Okay. And configure build path. Then click on this. Then you will get this window over here. Then source, add folder. So when we click on the add folder, we'll get one click on this create new folder. So when you click on this button, here we will need to type the folder name. So write SRC because it's a resource folder. So main slash resource already there. So when finish it, it will create there. Or you can do alternatively Maven update also. Sometimes it doesn't come with the Maven update. Yeah. Okay, Shivam. Okay. ठीक है चलो. Sometime you can do directly like here, go to the Maven update project and force update. That will also bring this directly. But I've seen that it not works, so we do this directly with this. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just coming. Okay. Okay. So now, first of all, and dependency, you see the pom.xml. This is our Maven project object model. So by default, you see this one, snapshot version. All these come directly, these headers, group ID, artifact ID, snapshot 001. That means it's going to be like the version kind of it. Jar file, packaging. We can have the var or jar. So currently it's by default jar. Name given, and the URL is maven.apache.org. That is their central repository. Okay. Then the property, some these things, additional information about it, UTF things. Dependency. This is the important one where you have to add the individual dependencies. Dependency. This IES. Okay. Inside that you have to copy multiple dependency. If you are doing Hibernate, you are doing the Spring code. For example, if I want to make a Spring project, so I will go to their central, the remote repository, search for Spring context, copy this, and then over here, paste here. Control Shift F. So we can add on individual dependency over here. That is multiple these dependencies. And when you save it, you will see it start downloading it. Okay, so save this. See this 100% done. Now, if I have to add the jar, there will be a huge kind of issue. Like if you see the jar file structure, for example, in this dependencies, they provide the jars also. Okay, so see the difference there. We have this jar. Okay, and this jar file, it's like copy this one, and it makes the project very heavy actually. Okay, so in the desktop, now if I extract this one, we can see this how many Spring framework. You can see this type of it. Context. All are the classes, packages, then the classes. So if we start adding like this jar files in the build path, it makes the project very heavy actually. And moreover, if I share this code to you, again you have to download the jar and add it. But this dependency, once I add it, when you run on your system, it will download this dependency. So the configurations problem actually has to be taken care. That's what this makes very lightweight component for this Spring. Adding the jar file, I hope you are aware of it, right? Uh, Simply right click it, build path, configure build path, and go to the libraries, add external jars. Then select, for example, I have this simply learn folder, some SL, this one, this jar. When you open it, apply and close, it will add a reference library over here. So I think in JDBC you have added any MySQL jar or something like that. So that is not required nowadays because this is in my C drive or desktop. If I share it to you, it will not get that path, and you have to again download and save it all those jars. So it's a problem is very huge actually, and this Maven things, the uh, project object model .xml actually help us to write the dependencies, and this dependency, when you execute this code, suppose I save this project, immediately it will download from the internet remote repository to your local .m2. So there is no issues on that, right? So this unique thing has been a part of this professional IT industry because projects are using this Maven. Prior to that, ANT, any near tool. But after having Maven, this is more powerful now. So Ant, we call it any near tool. That was also a build tool. So here we are having build quick start build. So we created one Java project here, which has this configurations, primarily src slash main Java resource, where we will place our dot properties file or dot yml file, yet another markup language, indent based, and the test. Here we will category wise it is differentiated. So here we will place testing files, JUnit and Mockito, which will come later on. I hope you are aware of the unit testing purpose. Test-driven approach. We will test the code of each functionality with the dummy data, because the development is not works like you are doing alone. 5 members are doing it, and you have only interface are there, but its logic will be developed sometime after that. So can we wait for that time? Answer is no. We will implement those interface things by having some dummy data through the Mockito. We'll show you that also. So it's a developer's job. Full stack developers has to do the initial JUnit testing with some dummy data. So Mockito is that on the top of it, JUnit is running. So this is the files separated where we will have the Java. Now you can see this package is already created. Simply learn DI. I will create one package first. Let us start with the aggregations example. Then we will go to the this string transitions with the loose coupling features. So this I'm taking a new package first of all. I hope you understand the meaning of package. So com dot simply learn package is for the avoiding the naming conflict or group into similar type of classes into this like aggregations, then setter injections like constructor injections. It can identify that it's in this group. And naming conflict, like if you have the same name, Java will not allow you. But if you have package name, please tell to src folder. This src main Java. This is Java folder. You need files for the Java. You need file to manage the resources. Resources means XML file or dot properties file or dot YML file for the configuration things. And the test Java is for the testing purpose. JUnit and Mockito. You can see this by default they are giving one testing file also. Unit testing purpose. JUnit. Okay. Java, the core Java will place over here. All the Java coding will be here. Resources XML file, which will provide the mapping of data objects, creation of objects and all. And testing is for JUnit Mockito testing of the Java code. So it is separated with that. Till now, I think you have done with the Java only, right? That's why you have seen this for the first time, I hope, SRC main Java like that. But this is the professional way of organizing different category. We will not mix it up. Later on the Spring MVC, we will have the controller service repository layer. Okay, entity. So those different things we will be placing into this SRC. Only the core Java file will be in the Java. Testing file will be in testing. Resources will have this project resource, which will mean those mapping things or properties file for configuration things we will have to keep over here in the resource for needing to run this project. Okay, so that is the differentiation. Now, first of all, we'll take the aggregations example as I have created this folder. And this is a folder inside the folder. If you have seen that project structure, you will know that this COM folder inside that simply learn folder then aggregate. Now right click on this new class. Okay. Now this class, what is this? 1 minute. What is the SRC of target folder? Target folder. This DI, package name, project name, artifact. DI, project name, SRC main Java is the category of core Java files to be there. This is package name. Have you done core Java projects in the Spring, in the Eclipse? So this is my project artifact ID. Then it has SRC Java resource test, 3 category. Inside that we will create the packages. Okay. So this project architecture, I think you have already done, but you're writing directly on the SRC. Some class name or package name and like that. But here in the advanced level in this, we have to identify with different categories, resource separate and this Java file separate and testing file separate. Okay. So you understood what is this DI project name? We call it artifacts. Okay. Yes. Now take this package name new class. So I am giving this class name. Suppose I am taking one class which will be dependent on other class. For example, first of all, take address. Okay. Where is this one? And we will take some dependencies, some attributes over here with this address. Let's say string city state country. These are the dependencies for this class. Okay. So we have taken these 3 variables for this string type, string city, state, country. Create one constructor of it. Go to the source. Then we will have this constructors using fields. Select it, generate the constructor. So this is my address class. So this is constructor. That means same name with the class name, no return type, and this parameters are string city, state, and country is taken over. Okay, is it clear? Still, I have not started the Spring. I am just talking about the Java aggregation. Then only you can understand the benefit of it. Okay? Yes, yes. Then we'll take one more class, new, and this time let's say employee class. Okay. So what is the role of that? Employee has a address, right? So we'll take one employee class, EMP, make a main method. Now here you can see this interlinked is like that. What is the problem in the Java we are facing actually? Okay, so this has been removed in the Spring using the dependency injection and the IOC container. Okay, so first of all the aggregation things. In this EMP, we'll take a few variables, int, employee ID or ID, the string employee name, then address object. So you can see this address. It has this city, state, country, employee. So these are the dependency of the employee class. All the three. ID, name, and address. That means every employee has a address. So object of A is passed in object of B. So that's what we are saying, that has a relation. So inheritance, you extend it. Remember that. But there is a EJ relation, then we extend it. But when there is no EJ, like vertical things are there, EJ relation. But horizontal means has a relation. You have done with the ER diagrams maybe. Entity relation diagram. A database maybe you have done. So in that, those are the ER diagrams, things are same like that. So here we have the address object. Right? Now we will create the constructor of it. So right click on that, go to the source, and then generate constructor. So first select it, source, generate constructor using fields, generate. Now it has ID. You have not here there. Okay, okay. Actually, see, I am also not aware like what are the topics you cover. Generally, when coming to the Spring, it's like the UI things, and then we cover the Java things, Java part of it, and the database. Yes, yes, yes. That I will do now. Okay. Yes, 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 I will do. Okay, that okay, so that means this constructor I have used, and data setter also we can do it, but here I am doing with the constructor so that I can access it. Currently I am doing with the constructor only, that correctly said by one of the associate, that data setters that is also we can do with that. So currently showing with the constructor. Okay. So this constructor is created now. We will create one method actually, that is for printing those values. That means ID, name, address, detail, city, country, state. So let's take one method. So Java, how to write the method? Public void, which is having no return type, display. No. First of all, I have not started the Spring at all. Okay. So it's still in Java. Then through that I will explain through the setter injections. Then I will start with the proper Spring. Okay. First you have to see these things in aggregations, because aggregations you have not done. So it will be difficult to identify in the Spring directly. Okay. So the constructor injection and setter injections will do it in the Spring. Here it's core Java things right now. Purely core Java. Okay. So we take the display method and SOP system.out.println. First you build the concepts, because rest to the program in the Spring core will not help to understand until unless you have a smooth transitions from the Java to Spring. So this is the transitions example. When we are changing from the Java to the Spring JEE components, third party JEE. Java has its own J2EE component. Are you aware of it? They have servlet and JSP. Okay, through which we used to build the web applications also in earlier days. But Spring is a third party framework. Java has its own framework called JSF, Java Server Faces, which is not that much popular. When we started, it was struts only. But struts having the problem of mixing the presentation with the business layer. That's why the Spring taken the advantage. JSF came after that. JSF is also very much a finished architecture, Java Server Faces. But Spring actually projects are built up on that number of where it get the advantage of it. So the Spring become more popular, in fact. Okay, so now just SOP, and let's print this ID plus some blank space and then plus name. So this and for the other one we have the city, state and country, right? So system.out.println. So we can call the display method to print. You know, in Java without SOP you can't get any output. That's, you know that, right? So I have taken the constructor, but when you pass those arguments, finally you have to print that. Okay, so I've taken one separate method display, because constructor are used for initialization purpose only. And I hope you know this dot ID. So this means current. When I say that your course will complete in this month, that means the current month. Initially it has a zero value. Whatever the value I will provide to the argument provide, that value will assign to it. So the current value will different, it will change. So this dot ID equals to ID. So this is the constructor, and super means it's a function call, super call. It's called the object class default function, because in Java inheritance starts from the first class you write. EMP extends object. I hope you know that what is the default means what is the supermost class of all the class. That is object class, right? Now, yes. And the default package is java.lang package. These are the very basic things. If you know the Java, anytime anyone can ask you starting things like that. Let's complete this SOP. Address we have taken dot city. So we'll print that, some blank space, address dot state plus some blank space. Okay. And the last one is address dot country. So it will print those things when we provide that. Now this is a has a relation, and we'll create the object here. Now this is what the drawback with the Java here you can see now. Not the drawback, but this creates the problem actually. You will see, I will create the object of address, because in inheritance you are doing extend, so automatically it comes those things, and through the subclass object you can access, but it is not inheritance, it is aggregation. So we have to create the object of both the classes. Okay, so address 1 equals to new address. So what is the constructor of this address? City, state, country. Okay. So all are string type. So most of you are from which locations? It's pan India, right? Okay, okay, okay. I'm just asking. Okay, I got it. So city, Chennai, state, Tamil Nadu, country, India. One reply was very good. Okay, address, address 2 equals to new address, Hyderabad. These are the constructor. I hope you understand the constructor arguments I am passing over here. Telangana, right? Yes, yes, yes. Telangana spelling is correct. Okay. Then India. So two constructors. So we have given this current value. Now employee EMP object E equals to new EMP. And what is the employee constructor over here? ID, name, and address. Okay. So we'll pass this accordingly. So ID, let's take 1 or 101. It is integer type. Then we have what is that next one? Name, right? So take the name Venkat R and we have address. So we'll pass address 1. That's a reference. Observe here this address 1 which contains this detail, and that is Okay. Maybe I lost some momentarily with my mobile data. I'm audible right now? Okay. 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 Maybe some voice may break actually because of this. Once I get this Wi-Fi again, I will connect with that. So let's sharing the desktop. Okay. So this Java application. One second. Some problems. Same object created. E2. Save this one and then run it. So here you can see the output. Normally in aggregations in Java we have achieved with this address and then we have called with this constructor this address 1 address 2. Okay, so you can see this one and we are getting this output. Hope you have understood this example, everyone. What is it? Eat. Okay. So first object. Yes, yes, I will explain one more time. Just 1 minute. This is address 1. Yes, yes, employee has address. That's what. But I'm again explaining it. We have this address, city, state. It is taking this Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, in Hyderabad. Now it is having this employee. Now we have this. 1 minute. In this, we have Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and India country. So this address, because we are creating the constructor of it and passing these dependencies like in this address 1 here with the reference. So you can see the 101 Venkatar, this is the ID and name, but this address 1 is able to get this data. Okay. Similarly, when I go with the display, because you have now the data, but in Java, you cannot print SOP. Without that, you can't get any output, right? Some value which we returning it or getting those arguments. So the display method is separated so that it will print the ID name 101 and Venkat R. And then in the next one, variable data, we have the dot city state. So it's object oriented. So I hope you know that this address dot city state and country we are getting it. Right. So that address 1 we are getting it, and the display will print that output. Okay. Next one, it's over actually. So that sequence F5 I have to press. You know in that Java how to do the dry run things? Employee has a address. This is address class. Okay, just closing it. This you have understood this address class. right? This constructor with the same name of the class and initializing the values. Is it okay? Now we have another class called employee. Yes. In this we have, because employee has an address, right? So I've taken those ID, name and address, two of it and the address. Because employee is there, then the address will be there, right? So it's a has a relation. Mobile has a SIM card. So that means this are has a kind of things. So employee has a address. So I pass this address object here. Type of it, reference type. Okay. And this address then simply created the constructor so that we can pass those arguments, because in the constructor you don't have to call those I mean you can do with the method, but here constructors emp id string name address. Why it is given? Because we have this id name and address, so the constructor is created here. Okay. Now when how to call that, the constructor and all, you know that this address one, we are passing these arguments. Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. One more object created. This is okay. Finally, in my employee constructor, we have ID, name and address. So this reference here passed as address one, the object of it given here. So it contains this detail. This will contain these details. So who will print that? Display. Display will first ID name it print. So you can see this ID name it print. Then the second SOP is printing this Chennai in some blank space not given. So here plus some blank is Chennai, Tamil Nadu and India. Okay. Is it clear? Your names are not reflecting actually. So I'm just thinking like the name is not there. So it's difficult for me to. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Simple Java program in inheritance. What you would have done? You created a subclass and through the subclass object you could access it. But there is aggregations also in Java, right? That is you have to cover in that time only. But here for this example, to transitions over the Spring, you have to give this understanding that here you see this coupling thing, tight coupling, which we are calling it, these things entirely. If you make any changes, if you add one variables and make this change, this will collapse. Simply it will not work. Okay, because employee is a highly having this address dependency. And this we do in the Java generally writing the code. Now for this to overcome, we will create another example where we'll add some what is called the same thing but one DI and IOC simply, and what is actually that we'll discuss shortly. Okay, so I hope this example is understood by everyone. How many participants are there right now? 50 around, right? So if this program anyone has any doubt, please ask me. I will again explain, because this is important to understand. That's the next level of programming to with the Spring I am starting with. Okay, so here the main method is there. Yes, yes. Okay, good, good. Manvendra, good. So this main method is there. Yes, yes, yes. No, not it. What is it? Harsita, not it. Okay. So this, Hasita, you understood this class address? Okay, you said it. Okay, okay, I got understood different thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought like you said you're not clear. Okay, okay. So it's a purely like Java class. In Java, we do like accessing one class object into another because there are hazy relations. All sometimes it is there, so we have to maintain like that, calling it. This dependency, you can see here both the objects output we are getting it, and this main method. Now next onwards, we will not give any dependency in the classes. We will do it to the mapping file, XML and all. Okay, so these value setters things or will not be injected. This is the value which we have injected. In term of string, it is called injected value. Dependency is injected. So this is done in the class. We will not do like this. So let's take start with one setter injection. I am closing this one. Take another package, new package, com dot simply learn dot setter. Okay, now I am starting with the setter injection. So then you can compare with this. Okay, so I'm starting the Spring now, Spring core. So the two concepts will explain through the coding, DI and IOC. Okay, now this package, new, similar type of things I will create here also so that you can identify with that. Let's take address. Okay, and that is the role here. You can see the role of package. Naming conflict. Same name cannot be allowed in Java, but if it is package level, it will allow it. Okay, so address I've taken, take a private variable like so that it will not be accessed outside through the getter setter. It will be accessible. So private string and same thing, state, city, country, all these things. Take address, address first detail also. Address in that I have not taken. It should have been means better if I have taken address line one also. Then city, then state, then country. Okay, so these are taken here, and we can create the setters because we are going with the setter injections, right? Click on that, select one of it, go to the source, generate getters and setters. Click on that, city, state, country, generate. This we call it as a Pojo class also, plain old Java object with setters. Okay. Yes, yes, plain old Java object. No, that means it has some utility method also. I will add to string, etc. Yes, yes, plain old Java object. So address line one, city, state, country. Then the data sectors are created. Okay. We will print the value. So Pojo class things. So to string method, you heard about it. toString. Okay, good. So create that also. Go to the source, generate toString. So it will return those things. Then I will print those values. So address line 1, city, state, country. Let's generate that. Okay, so it will return address line 1. So it's more formatted way. It will print this one, then the actual value, then city, then the actual value, then the state, like that. Okay, so this is my Pojo class with some utility. ToString method is overriding over here. Return type is string, so we are returning those. So this is the class, first class, where we have created the setter. So we are going with the setter injections, similar to what we have done in the address employee in the aggregation. Now we are rewriting the things in a different way. Okay, so that is what the string requirement. Okay, now we have the employee class also, so that we will add those dependencies first of all. Employee, there will be no main method. Please observe here. In this case, we will take the dependency private int employee ID private string name, then private address. Okay, same thing like they have done. And setter injection, so we will use the setters, getter setters, source, generate getter setters. I hope these things you done in encapsulation. What is the benefit of getter setter? Why we use this get and set, and why we make the variable private? What is the use of it? You have done the encapsulation, na? Java OOPS concept. So this access level, what is the benefit of private, public, protected, default? Because one, okay, for safe accessibility, okay. Yes, one of these things are like for the making the variable private, so it will not be able to, nobody will able to access it directly. So ID, name, address, which is there, cannot access directly or modified by directly. So that's why we make data private, data hiding. It is called data hiding basically. But if we hide the data, then how to use the data? So for that, we need the public method. And now, yes. Cannot access outside world. That is the major reason. If I make it public, then what will happen? Suppose ID equals to, I give -101. If I modify it and some calculation, it will go to that calculation. But now no one can directly change this ID. 0 means 0 here. The original value will remain the same. It will be accessed, public method will be accessed, and they will modify through the public method. So here in Java, how to write the method? You have this return type. So their getter must be having return type. and the setter will be void type, and it has a parameter int id, and then same name. So id, so we initialize this dot id equals to id. So whatever the current id, because we will set this value. Otherwise in Java, how we will set it? You will make the object of this class and dot set id, in the bracket you will pass 101, right? But this thing should not be done in the Spring. This will be done, this setting of the value, setter injection value, this dependency value will be set in the XML file. Okay, so this is the getter setter rule, and create one method, because without SOP you can't do anything. Means output wise we will not get. So certainly make one method here, public, and these are called the Java beans also, getter setters. They are reusable components. So, and this is the standard actually, because yes, this standard, if not there, everyone will start making their own public method, and we will not be able to track the Java, because it's a complex real-time scenario. If you have seen the project, you will see those things. It's a very complex architecture. If we don't follow the standard things, then it will be difficult. Every developer will start making their own public method to access the private variable. So it led to the problem of maintenance, because it's not like the continuations. Maybe the developers will be accessing it for some time, then that person is not available after some time. It will be difficult for a newcomer to start these things immediately. So make this standard. Okay, so just going with that. Now we will make one method for the displaying purpose. So SOP is required, public void display. Yes. Go first. So I'm adding one display method, SOP system.out.println, and first we will print ID, ID and name, right? So same thing, plus name. Beans, yes, both are same actually. In technical terms, yes. In technical terms, like when you add some method, so it is actually becomes Pojo class. Okay, right. Yes. So without adding those things, you can't print the value, right? Output I need anyhow. SOP is required, right? See, in one case I have returned this value, but those return things will not print itself. The return things I have to print SOPs. So system dot, you know how to do that SYSO control space. This is the auto completion feature in the Eclipse. Okay. Then simply pass that address, because we have this address value that we already returning there. So ID, name, and address. After having done this example, now we will have the dependency through the setter injection. Now see what we will do here. We will create one XML file. Okay, the XML file is needed for the dependencies to be injected, not in the class. So now see, someone was asking what is the resource things. So it's like now you will see the use of it. Resource. ToString already have used. So when it returns those address things, line 1 address, line 1 and all, so then you need to print that. Na? So I'm adding this thing. So it will print, return this value. So I already have done, so no need here itself. In one place it is done already. So it will return those address things. ID name, it is I am directly printing. It will come from the return value. So since I am using this address, an associated return value will come up. But it will come in this format only. Okay. So that already done. Now what was doing, like, yeah. So in the resource XML file, now here we will inject those dependencies. So what is the dependencies here in this class? ID, name and address. Okay, now this will be injected in the XML file. So that is DI, dependency injection. So now take this, right click on this resource folder, new, other, then search for XML. XML file, next. Generally proper naming conventions are given. Any name you can give it, no problem, but generally it is like application context. Okay, next, finish. In the source tab, this is design tab, just a little below you can see the source. Click on this source, you will get that editing area. U Y I what Y did. Oh, what you did? Okay, I thought like something you short form. You are asking some SMS kind. Okay. Uh, so what I have done this one. Right click on the resource, then new, other. Okay. After that, when you click the other, you will get all the things here in this one. Search in the wizard, type the wizard's XML file. Okay. Then select XML file. Here I will create those objects. I will not create the objects in that class. Please remember that. Okay. Bean objects, equivalent Java things. XML file. Next, new file.xml. So I've changed the name like application context.xml or bean.xml. You can give any name, no issues of it. But it should be .xml file. Next and finish. Then you will get this type of things, design. Then the source editor, you will click on the source, you will get this editor. Is it okay? Yeah, Neha, you got it. Okay. 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 Now we have to add the header. So that header means directly you have to import the www.stringframework.com. So those headers you can search in the Google. This one, the keyword is, when you type Spring DI XML header, it will go to the, don't go to any other site, the spring.io site. Okay. And just scroll that spring.io things. Why the headers are needed? XML need the DTD files. Okay. These XMLs, schema files, DTD files, where it is, that location you have to specify. So this is created by the Spring people, spring.io, means this Patel. Yes, yes, anywhere, string document. But original site, docs.string.io. Okay, that is better choice. You can get in a number of places, those header. Okay, so you can see this is the header. XML schema style would be like that. I will not use GTD but XSD, schema definition. So it is directly taken from http www.springframework.org schema beans, then wspringframework.org schema beans spring beans XSD. So this has the definition of bean file, schema location, XSI, XMLNS, schema XM naming services, all these part of XML. So beans to beans, you should copy this one. I share this link to you. Chat box is there now. Okay, and this header equivalent file XML schema style would be like that. Paste over here. Okay. So when you paste these things, it will be like that. Beans to beans. And then inside the beans, we create the bean object. So it will parse those things and understand whatever I'm going to write bean things. It will able to read from that online schemas and all. You have done the bootstrap, jQuery, etc. You may have used the CDN, content development network. Otherwise, this will not recognize what you are writing actually. Those API methods and all. Similarly, for XML, these are the things. Okay. No audio. 1 minute. Wait. Let me check if I got my Wi-Fi connections. 1 minute. I think it, it will not stuck now. Is it okay? Yes. Yeah. Now it will be okay because when I switch over to the Wi-Fi, then the Norton block because of the big password. So they have blocked some speed of the network for security purpose. So that's what now it will be okay. I just forget to switch over because that time it was for a while it was lost, so I connected with mobile. So if you face any audio issue, okay, it was then I think mobile data also have 8 to 10 Mbps speed, so it connects. That's good, but sometime because I take the sessions for various MNCs also, so sometime it happens mobile data. The students saying like it's breaking kind of it. So that's what I thought to be because this bandwidth it takes more this WebEx and all, so it needs some time to connect. So speed matters actually. Yeah, so this is the header you have to write in the XML file. Otherwise, whatever you writing in the bin, it will not able to understand. Okay, so like in normal process in Java, we import those things. Remember, but in the XML, we have to write those schema things and the location, etc. You have to define. Spring Framework has provided these things. Directly, you have to use the www.springframework.org. And this, please copy into the original place. There are so many places you will get those things, maybe some missing things and all, it will not work. So whatever we write after that, it should connect with this XSD file. Earlier it was DTD, but DTD has a lot of limitations, so schema definition is better choice, XSD. So that's why XSD files are created. And now I'm going to use the bean ID, class, scope, auto binding things so we can add, init, destroy. It will understand with this XSD file. Otherwise, if you write directly, it will say what is this ID, what is this class. So it's similar to the import thing. So for XML, you have to add this header. Simply go to the spring.io site, docs.spring.io, search for the DI headers. You will get that original one. So beans to beans, here we will inject those dependencies. So now I'm starting with that bean first attribute ID equals to address 1, and it should be in double quotes. It is equivalent to the object in Java. It's not primitive type, it's object type. Primitive is int float double, like the wrapper class object, so it's object type, address 1. So here we have done this address 1. In the bean, we will use like that. And it is equivalent to the object in Java. Whatever ID you write. Okay, so this is my object creation happening. There is no class object. Address employee, you can't see any object here. Like previous example, we have to do it. Here we are doing the loose coupling, which is the major importance for this IOC. Okay, so we are not making class to class dependency. Class are independent. Okay, now in this XML address 1, then one more attribute I will use, that is class. Okay, so the package name you have to write here, com. It's very long name, so just give me 1 minute. Okay, setter dot, which class object I am creating? Address, right? Yes, yes, yes. So now address 1 is the object of this. Sorry. Now the setter injection, for that property control space. We will get the list of it, property name. So what is the name of the address? So go to the address properties. What are the properties? Address, line 1, city, state, country. These are the dependency, in fact. So this I will copy it and paste here, address line 1, and setter injection now. Value equals to. Those setting things I am not doing in the class. Please see again. Okay. Value equals to Chennai. Okay. So address line 1, so it's better that OMR. Then other dependencies I'm adding, I think 4, right? 3, 4. Others are not this one. city, state, city, state, country. City, setter injection will do with Chennai, setting those value. City, then set the value at city, state. State, Tamil Nadu, and last one is country, India. Okay, so this is my one object, one bean object. Dependency is injected over here with setter injection. So this is the DI, dependency injection with setter. One more object, like I created two objects, if you remember here. Address 2 also. So make it address 2, same class, address line 1, Marine Drive. City, Mumbai. State, Maharashtra. Country, India. Okay, so this is that is a different example. No? It's not linked with that example. Yeah. It's a separate. Means I'm just taking another object with other things because other state also I can. This is separate example. Here it's like a Java thing, but now I'm doing with the Spring. Okay, so if you want, I can add the Hyderabad also. That's not a problem, but currently it's enough. So two objects added, address 1, address 2 with these setter injections. Now we have this one, address 1, address 2, we are passing it. So we will create two more beans. Okay. So asterisk symbol, if you see, it is not saved. So you have to save it. Now create two more bean object bean ID. So this time I will create the object of employee. Okay. ID equals to EMP OBJ just I'm writing. Okay, that is better. Leave it long name not required. Then the class, what is the class? Com dot simply learn dot setter. Package name is always in the small case and the class name is in caps. These are the Java naming conventions. Employee, LOYEE. Okay. So this is my employee object, OBJ. And then we'll use the setter injection again. So control space, property name. We have ID name address, right? ID name and the value injected. So value of ID give it 101. Then two more property, name and address. Name. So Sai. Okay. ID and name is given, but look at this address here. Address here, it will not be value. it is reference equals to address 1. This address 1 is the reference for this. So you have to use, instead of the value, this address 1. Because in this example, if you have noticed that previously, where it is PMP, right? We are passing this address 1, that is a reference only, as a relation. So here we are writing a reference address 1. Okay. Now copy this again, the entire one. For Mumbai also I have to give the detail. ID 102, name, so any name I can give it relevant name. Some S Mumbai Kar, okay, Wadikar. So some Kar I've added, and then address 2, right? So this will be for the Mumbai. Okay, sir. So OBJ, when we call it, it will call address 1, OBJ 2. Okay, this is employee 102 S Wadikar address. Understood this one? This dependency injection. Classes are nothing. Classes are left freedom, full, no, nothing you have seen, only the Pojo things. Sorry, one, okay. Address, employee with their methods. We are not creating any objects, unlike in the previous case, we have to do all this main method here. Now we will need this method, main method, you know that. Because it's a core, Spring core only. It's a desktop application only, console applications only. So, yes. It's so interesting, believe me, Spring, after doing the Spring, you will think like it's a new thing, means that is something which you will feel very happy and satisfied with the Spring thing. They have come with the solutions. They use the same core Java, created their own API, their own framework. And when we add those to dependency, their library, we are able to use their methods. So that's what the things are like that. This is the third-party support. Interview, they will ask like this kind of it, what is the difference, like Java things, why, basically this features like loose coupling, one of the important aspects, these lightweight things, IOC, DI, these are the basic things they will ask you in interview. Interview questions I will give you separately. Okay, because that is like interview questions. If you explain through the coding also, if you are having face-to-face interview, then also in the IT world it is fully recognized. Maybe sometime the uh, students not able to explain it, but if you explain through some paper, that's the example with that small outline and all, it will recognize very nicely in this IT industry that is the understanding of it. But if you are doing this through the phone call and all, then obviously your speaking ability must be very technical in that terms. Okay, so that flow will happen when you maintain those discussions at least 10-15 minutes with your friends and all, with the technical aspects. Only discussing other things like you call your friend, discuss so many things. Just maintain 10-15 minutes technical discussions also. and you will see those improvements because both of you have some understanding of the topics, explain to each other, and then it's kind of things like help to build that confidence, and the flow will be maintained. So anytime you are prepared for the interview, and that kind of process, because success is something which is required a lot of effort, and those efforts you have to do it when you are going with such interview things or evaluations round or something. Directly you can't speak much until unless you have that previously the you have developed this ability to at least maintain your flow of technical. So I will give you some interview questions with this. Specifically, they want to know the benefit of it, features of it, the DI and the inversion of control. So you have seen that classes are having no nothing dependencies. These are injected to the XML file, and then the IOC now needed, inversion of control, because now IOC is something which we have to see the next thing, and for that we will create the class IOC container class. Okay, so that is again important part of these things that we must focus on, that the inversion of control. This is DI things, but inversion of control, at least they can ask you what is actually that means. So through the coding I will explain, but at least little bit concepts I write over here, so that will be better, because the time has come. Because DI you have seen that things we have done with the setter injection, but Spring IOC container we call it. So it's an inversion of control. And what is the role of it? First, instantiating the bean. IOC container role I am talking about. Already we created the bean file now. Now I need IOC container. So it will not this file, application context. I have this bean file. So the role of IOC container, and just wait, after that I will write the code for it. So instantiating the bean, wiring the bean, together, then configure or assembling, configure the beans. The beans has a life cycle, bean has a scope that I will cover tomorrow. Okay, and managing the life cycle of beans. Okay, so inversion of control IOC container role is instantiate the bean, wiring the bean together, configure the beans, and manage the life cycle init to destroy. Okay, so bean has the life cycle, we'll discuss it later on. There are two types of IOC container. Container means something like, you can understand container, it contains the respective API things, interfaces, classes and all, to connect with the, to create the object, instantiating the beans, wiring it, configuring it, like that, maintaining the life cycle init to destroy. After destroy, bean is over. So those things are managed by the container. And Spring, you have seen that architecture, not this architecture. Where is that diagram? close it. So you have seen that Bean, Core, AOP, ORM, those are they have the container and sub-containers for respective uh, this API methods, interfaces, classes are there for that particular purpose. So they maintain those modules in their project architecture, in their Spring architecture, that modules are there, that containers are there. So two types of IOC container are there. First one is Bean Factory. So I think like design pattern, etc. you have done. Factory methods. Factory method means there will be an interface, then there will be classes, and based on that class, we can have, means suppose there is a class which is implementing those methods, and then we calling through some if-else condition. If this happens, then that particular method will be called. So that kind of interface, class, subclass concepts are there. We call it factory method. So interface is the primarily playing the role. Will be used to declare the methods, and the classes are implementing it. So it's called Bean Factory. But in nowadays in the Spring 3 onwards, we are using the application context. This interface we are using. Okay. Since it is a Java follows the camel case. You know that camel case? See, this is a camel case. Some formation. Okay. So what is the difference here in the Bean Factory and application context? So basically Bean Factory means org dot Spring framework dot beans oh, it will be small. This is the beans, sorry, beans dot factory. This is the package name of the Spring framework dot bean factory. Okay, so this is, and second one is this package name will be slightly different. It will be context dot application context. So not 3 and 4, please just delete this one. And application context will be available in org dot Spring framework, but it is not in the bean, it is in the context package dot application context interface acts as IOC container. Okay. Application context interface is built on the top of Bean Factory. Interface. So first, application context means Bean Factory is running on the top of Bean application content is built on the top of the Bean Factory. So Bean Factory is there itself, but the advantage is that there are various further features which is not there available in Bean Factory. but it is available in application context. Like we have next topics like AOP, aspect-oriented programming, I18N. You heard about I18N? And various features are there in the application context. So we will use application context interface as a IOC container. I18N is called internationalization. It's a local Japanese, Russian, Chinese language which we want. Okay. So I internationalization. So in okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm also feeling exhausting. So I need also break for some time. So how much time for the break? I think 20 minutes. Okay, guys. So we'll join after 20 minutes. Rightly. So please point me out also because I think 10 minutes. Okay, you are asking for a long time. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing your messages. So we'll join around 9:45. Okay. Yes. So the last things to connect with that is left. That is in IOC container. IOC container. We will call that XML file in that. Okay, and then we will access the gateway method, that object. So simple 3-4 steps. So after the dinner break, you can do it. Obviously. So please remind me for these things because it's an interesting topic. Through the coding, you can understand a lot of things. So that is why I just forget. So you please remind me. Yeah. Thank you. So we'll connect after 20-25 minutes. Okay. Thank you so much. So we're discussing the inversion of control. That means the IOC container is provided for this specific purpose, and IOC container is of two types: bean factory and application context. Application context is a better choice because it's on the top of the bean factory. It has several other features like the aspect-oriented programming, which we'll see that topic is there. So I will cover that also. And the other things, internationalization, I18N. 18 is the digit, like if you write internationalizations. So between I and N, there is 18 digits. So it's called I18N. All these supports are there for this additional supports with the application context. So professionally in an industry, we are using that particular IOC container. So the control now, what is the role of IOC? To instantiate the bean, that bean we have created. So we have to create that object first. It will read from that, create it, assemble it, configure it, and then manage the life cycle. You need to destroy. So that is the role of IOC. Dependency injections means dependency is injected through the setter injections. You have seen in XML file, we have those setter values has been done, property value, and the reference is taken. So that has a relations for that purpose, we have taken that reference. Okay, now still I have not received my desktop. Can someone help me? Yes, Mohan, can you please help me? I am not able to access my desktop, share my desktop. It's disabled now. Guys, you have any options to enable this? Okay. I'm clicking, but it's not. Okay. How to integrate Maven? Yes. That form.xml, I added the string context. So that is the integration things. I will show you. Just give me a few minutes. That initially in the starting time, I added the string context. So because of that, now when we use this IOC container, I have to import org.stringframework.context.application context. It will able to recognize with that. So that you will shortly see those things. But uh, I just wanted to get this desktop save file. No, it's not working. 1 minute, I will send a message. Give me a few minutes. Yes, 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 I'm going to call it. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, just all of a sudden. Okay, just wait for one. Yes, yes, thank you. So now I'm audible now? Okay, okay. So I'm sharing my desktop. Okay, okay. Yes, thanks, Mohan. So this 1 minute. We're discussing this one last time. So these are the values given. Now we're writing the IOC over here. So the main class, main method, you have seen that in the aggregation example, we have done this public static void main. So we will create one driver class for it. So here you can observe address and employee, there is nothing. So, but we need main method to execute that code. And in main, we will call the IOC container. So we'll create one more class over here. I'm just closing and save this all. Okay, and close all. So we'll add one more class here, driver class, the main method which will contain. So for example, write driver class. main method, right? And here we will call the IOC container. So application context works as a IOC container. It's an interface. Take the mouse over here, application context. Okay, now we'll take the mouse here. It is saying import org.streamframework.context.application context equals to. It's a factory pattern. So interface to class, new class path XML, application context, class, control space, class path XML, application context, and we'll read that XML file. Application context dot XML. The application context is an interface, open declarations. You can see that it is written by Roderick Johnson himself. And interface, application context extends this. In so many sub interfaces are there, so like that. And this is part of org string framework.context. The API supports are there, so that central interface to provide configurations for an application. Okay, and here it has several methods. Okay, get application, display, startup. So this is an interface, so you know that interface purpose is having those methods declared. So we are calling this application context interface. Bean factory method for accessing application components. So this application context we have used new class path application context because it's a factory pattern. Okay. So this class name is class path application context extends abstract application context. This is the class standalone XML application context taking the context definition file from class path. And in case this is a simple one-stop shop convenience application context. So they have given the definition of it, application context, class path, XML application context. It has several constructor 1, constructor 2, like that. We are using this one, string configuration, config location. So this third constructor we are using over here, passing the parameters, the string application context.xml. This XML file which we have, this application we are calling in the IOC container, application context.xml. Okay, so it's showing some, save it. Okay. So this is my IOC container, inversion of control. What is the role of it? Is read the bean file, instantiate it, configure it, wire the bean, and finally maintaining the init to destroy lifecycle of the bean file. So this is given by the Spring framework to us. Now we will instance it. So employee E equals to context dot get bin method is there. See, that is why Java things, API things are so great for us. Because of these API methods, we are able to handle in 1 or 2 or 3 lines our maximum coding. We just integrate actually. All things are available. You just have to. That is what the role of the framework. You don't have to do the coding from the scratch. So if you try to understand framework you can understand like ready to move house. So everything is there. TV, AC, fridge, washing machines, everything is there. Just uh, ready to move kind of it. So like without framework, you have to write the code for everything. But framework already inbuilt support is there. Applications, semi-built applications is there. And of course, when we talk about the framework, that means you can customize it also. Like one floor is constructed and there is a scope to construct one more floor on the top of it. So that kind of concepts, if you try to understand, that is what the framework. So most of the technology are nowadays into the framework because coding is less. A lot of boilerplate codes we don't have to write. Just simply use their API methods, and definitely it connects with that. So that's the advantage. Here, those methods, interfaces, factory methods are available to us for reading the XML file, then instantiating it, assembly, wiring the bean, getting those dependencies, and print those output. And after that, it will destroy it. So those things are internally container managed. Okay, user developer has to write only this employee equals to context dot get bean, and what is the bean name? So go to this application context dot xml. We will call this obj. Automatically, it will call the address one also, right? So this is the bean object. We'll call here obj and comma the typecasting things you have to do. If we don't do it, we have to do the typecasting over here because bean object has to be compatible with the employee object. So add cast like that. Okay. Or if you don't want to do the typecasting, this can be done using comma employee dot class. Okay, same thing. And finally, for SOP purpose, e dot display. Simple 3 line of code you can see. Because we need the main method. Main method will read the XML bean file. Wiring of the bean, it will do it. Managing the life cycle, etc. So this driver class, where is the error? Okay, save it. Yes. So it reads from that bean. Then get bean method is there. You see this get bean. String name class required type. Return an instance which may be shared or independent or specified bean. So we are using this get bean method in the bean factory class. It is in the ORG Spring Framework bean factory. So it is earlier they've given the interface bean factory. So application context is running on the top of the bean factory because this method has this what is called the get bean method. So this is a part of the design pattern because the things will be like when you do the Java training, that time we provide design concepts also, some creational patterns, behavioral patterns, structural patterns, factory patterns, part of that thing. So those design patterns interface to classes, how they create and access those things. So you must have done the interface itself, but there is an independent class which can have taking those interfaces, implemented methods, and all those factory patterns we call it. So now Hibernate also you have a session factory. In JPA we have the entity manager factory. So those interfaces are there and they're implementing classes to which we can access it. So see this gate bin, it's actually it is in the gate bin. If you see this is connected with here in the bin factory interface. So application context we are using it. We have the advantage of additional features we can include with the container AOP and internationalization, etc. But apart from that, this gate bin also we have method which we access through that. So it is still in the bin factory, and the bin factory is starting when Spring started. They have given this IOC container only, but Spring 3 onwards they have added another one. There is one more IOC container that is configurable application context, because next day, like tomorrow, I will do with the annotations, not with the XML, because the alternative of XML, Java has given in terms of annotations. XML is not part of the Java. So Java just try to give you alternate options through the annotations, which we will do it instead of this bean at the rate bean we will use in a Java class. Okay, so now this example is completed. So see this previous example, employee to here, just calling it and displaying it. It has not like that address, then the employee, then the application's context, all the objects and their associated values, setter injections, and then through the IOC accessing that. So independent class, driver class, which we have the application context, gate bin, make the equivalent with the employee object, OBJ. So you can typecast or you can write this one, and then display method because you want to get the data print. So now if everything okay, then run this one. Okay, one of you asked the integration here. So in the form.xml, we have added this one, Spring context. So if you don't add these things, immediately it will say what is this one. The library, it will give error. Okay. So we are using the org Spring framework.context.support context like that. So these things are because of Spring code. This will cover the same, because 5.20 now it's taking itself. Context is enough. Okay, the single one is able to do it. You did not add in the form.xml. What you have not added? The Spring core not required. Yeah. Spring context is enough. Okay. Earlier version it was required. Now 5.20 we are doing it. Latest one 5320. It is enough. This handling both the bean IOC, this everything. We don't have to add an additional one. If we go with earlier version, 4 or something like that, you have to add separately all those things. Context is enough. Okay, because currently 5.320, the latest one. Yes. So that's also one of the good questions you have raised in my mind also. I'd like to discuss that as well. Not showing stable. On that. Just one second. Give me one minute. MDN repository. It's same thing. I'm just using just now. You see, MDN repository. If you go there, search for the context here. Spring. Search for it. So there are core and all these things are there. I'm using this one. Context. 5320. It's the latest one. If it is not working, you can go with some stable version of March or December 2021, 5314 like that. So I've taken this one. It's we'll see that if it works or not. Okay. Yeah, you take the no problem. Whichever is their older version is also it's okay. Sometimes compatibility problems are there. I'm trying with the latest one, the May 2022 release. Okay. You also please try first. Not working, then you downgrade to the previous versions. Okay. That generally in the real time scenario, what happened that the project configurations are done by the senior member with existing compatibility factor, and the rest of the members just copy it so that at least they don't have to face the issues. Like sometimes hibernate versions with the string versions class and all. So we have to maintain that kind of things where if one of the associates is able to manage those dependencies, the same versions we maintain in all the projects like that. So you check with that. Okay, not a problem. I'm trying with 5320. Let's see this one. Okay, so this library is added over here. Now we'll run this one, run as Java application. It's a driver class, so we will run the Java application. I'm calling the OBJ. Now you can see the output is showing me 101 ID and name it is showing, and the second line, the address things are returning me to a string. Right? So I'm getting this output. And it is like on demand basis. So in the application context, we have another object, obj2. So when I call this one, I will get the address to Mumbai and these things. So in this IOC container, where is that driver? We will make it obj2. So objects are in the passive state in the XML file. When required, we call it on demand basis. So now I will call obj2. So it's going to change this one. Okay. Java applications. You can see S. Wadekar address like that. Marine Drive City, Mumbai, Maharashtra, country, India. Whereas in this employee, if you have two objects, both are printing the value or not. There is no other option. But now in the string, we have requested that we want this particular object to be called in. That particular object is getting called. Right? So let's try to complete this example here. This application context, we have obj, obj2, and for 2 we are having the reference. So I try to explain you in terms of the aggregations where we write the dependency directly and calling it in the class. Now this architecture has been changed in the string with the loose coupling features, where there is nothing written other than the getter setters and some utility method. But it is through the driver class we are accessing the IOC container. IOC is an inversion of control. Now there is no class is calling to other class. Like I am not cooking my food. I order it to the Zomato. And then I will monitor the delivery boy is coming at what time and all those things. So when I order, I have options in the XML file to take a vada pav or some biryani or something. We have all those features. Now it is there. Now I select it, and now we will I will monitor these things. It is delivered, and once it is delivered, you will get the message over. Your bin is over. Means destroyed. So instantiating it, wiring it, that boy will collect it, deliver to your home. All these process. So these things are like we are having inversion of control. Instead of doing myself, I have delegated it. Okay, so the control is passed to for the third party. So that will take care of this. But for the third party, I need something to develop, right? Otherwise, how it will go there? So that means Spring Framework provided me application context to do this IOC things. Okay, so we call it actually IOC container because this container has the ability to read the XML file, assemble it, wire it, configure it, and complete the lifecycle. Okay, and dependency means every class has few dependencies in terms of their attributes or properties. These dependencies we will not injecting in the class, we will doing through the XML. So DI with setters, you will see that is Spring thing. DI with setters, DI with constructors, like that. So we will take one more example with the constructor now. Setter things I have done. Here getter setters are used. And setting of these values are done in the XML file. Tomorrow we'll not do this XML things. Or if possible, maybe after some time, we'll give you the example with annotations. Java prefer annotations because XML, they don't want to go ahead with this because XML is not part of the Java. So they have given the alternative in terms of annotation. And in the industry, we are fully using the annotations. Okay, because we don't want XML things to be there. In certain case, it's required. There is no alternative. But most of the time, they are using annotations to provide the alternative. Not only that, it's like so abstract actually. You write one annotation, it at the rate component, at the rate service, at the rate component scan, at the rate bean. It internally connects all those things, making everything very abstract. Abstract, I hope you understand in the OOPS terms. Yeah, yeah, string without it. Yes, yes. It's called Java-based annotation-based DI. Okay, so Java-based DI. It's right now XML I have to take because I cannot start from the step 3 itself. Step 1, 2, 3 like that I have to travel, right? So that's why starting point when we discuss with the students, we start with the XML only. It's not that bad idea. Like if you use the XML also, it's okay. But professionally in the programming level, because we are creating bulk of the things, who will write those headers and parse these things will take long time actually. So it's a fast world. Everything has to be done in hourly basis. On that kind of things, you have a lot of work to do. So similarly, we have to do these developments with the annotations, which is very easy. But there also you have to write at the rate bean and all. Here it's a bean. There will be use annotations called at the rate bean. So we'll discuss tomorrow. So I hope this example is understood by everyone. Any doubt, I will again explain these things because I try to explain in terms of the aggregations and then in terms of the Spring. Okay, okay. So it's like same track because when we start the Spring, we directly not explaining the Spring. Okay. First, you have to understand the transitions of the Java to Spring. So aggregation is the best choice when you have seen the has a relation. We are passing in the constructor with that object, and then finally we are accessing in the same class. But those things are drawback type of it because the objects are there and on demand basis I can't do it. It's all the objects value will assign that will be displayed. Here you have seen obj1, obj2, I can do it. ToString is printing. ToString is a method which returns the value. So address this ToString, right? So what is the role of ToString? Why it is a string return type. It returns a string representation of the object. So it will return it, But SOP is required or not? Otherwise, you can write one method and then get those things written. But it's very easy to handle with two string. It is in the originally in the object class. So in the string we are overriding. You know the overriding concepts. What is the benefit of overriding? This annotation is come because of our directly created. Without that also it will print when we print obj. Yes, that's what. Yes, code reuse. Overriding. Yeah, code reuse. Reuse. No, code reuse inheritance. Code reuse here it's a child class scenario. Object to string class. So you can understand in terms of the OOPS concepts already you've done. So that means it's something inheritance drawback if you have seen that. You have an inheritance, suppose a class animal. We have a method called animal is running. Now we have a subclass horse. We extend this one. Horse extends animal. And through the horse object h1 we are calling that run method. So HR will going to use collection type like state map. HR means yes. Three type of here. Okay, I understood. Like you are asking here. Yes, one by one example we'll do it. Now it's like setter today done with that. Then we'll do with constructor. Then to the collection. Same thing happened in the XML. We will do the collections. Okay, set list all those things data. We'll add in that and we'll call to the IOC. Okay, so it's like setter injection, constructor injection, and the collection injection. Both are there. So we'll create that thing. Yes. Yeah, I will do that. So to string method, basically overriding, I was saying like just 1 minute. This overriding purpose is something where specific to the child behavior. If I call h1.run method, it will still print animal is running, but actually horse is running. So the difference is like father likes to read the book, medical book, and the child is also reading habit is there, but he likes to read some comics and all. But so we have to override that things. Inheritance, if you allow it, it will come directly like the child is also reading that medical book, but it's not possible. So expanding this functionality scope, we are overriding actually. So code reusability, basically inheritance, same to same will be come to the child also. Right. So this is what the concepts here, and we have some time left. So take one small case study for the next example for the constructor injection. So this SFDC Spring Core constructor. Now second is done. Now we'll do with the constructor also. And it's a mix of it, purely not constructor. Setter is also I'm using it as per the requirement given. So create a class called customer. Okay, so we will create a class called customer with the following attributes: int, type, string long. Create another class membership that has the below attributes. Okay, membership ID, membership type, visits per year, and customer year. So that means membership has a dependency of customer. So membership is given to the customer. Okay, everyone is not given membership. Membership will be given who will be the customer of that shopping mall or something like that, whatever it's there. It's a number of visits, so anything. So who is a registered member? Okay, so this is going to have the has a relation over here with the membership, which having customer. So membership is having the yes. What you said? Yeah, yeah. I will share this. I will share this. Don't worry. I will share the examples also which I have done. Okay. Generally, I will check in the drive. Actually, I share it. So it's like for every batches, I'm using like whatever I do, I share it in the same day. Google Drive, I share it. Is it accessible to you? Google Drive, because everyone has a Gmail at least. Maybe GitLab or GitHub maybe required to create the password, but everyone has the Gmail, so it's easy for the associates to access this. Other than your official email ID, but those restrictions, apart from that, the Google Drive is the easiest available format. So I will share it once and go with that. Okay. So here the customer and the membership. These are the having dependencies here. You can also upload. Yes, yes, GitHub I can upload, no problem. But please check everyone has a GitHub link or not. Otherwise, it's like they have to create it especially. So Gmail is there with everyone. That's why I'm saying. I have no issue. GitLab, GitHub, anywhere. You have. Okay, no problem. Then no problem. I will upload it. Okay. Yes. So GitHub. Not GitLab. Okay. GitLab is more advanced level. CI/CD things you can do it nicely there. GitLab is most preferred in this industry. But anyhow, it's okay. That is a different story. Yes, I was discussing like this one. Yes, yes. Customer and membership with this attributes. Now, attributes should be private. Customer has to set to the membership. So, customer has to set the membership via constructor injection in XML file. Okay. So, when we will make the membership, that time we will use the setter injection. Sorry, constructor injection. Okay. So it's saying like okay. And this one membership via constructor injection. 1 minute. Yeah. Create a class called driver with the main method and write the logic to get input from the user, such as customer details, membership details, and display the details to verify the correctness of your code. UI will not be tested. Of course, we are not dealing with the UI, just it's a course things we are learning. We are going to have the console things going to print. Okay, design constraint. Customer class and the membership class should be present in com.spring.app package. So in the beginning of your career, starting things, you must develop the habit of reading the case study and converting to the coding. It's a normal, what we call it, the process where we will have ability, you will get some business analyst will prepare the docs after discussion with the client, and once the client discussion is over, then business analyst will prepare some documents, and then the development team members read those business cases and then try and then write the code. So everything is properly documented in this IT industry. It's not we start doing the coding directly. Then there is no point, because it's like in agile methodology which we are going to follow. You must be knowing the agile methodology also, like product owner, scrum master, and then this kind of things, like a story point and the epic writing, product backlog, sprint backlog, burn down chart. All those things are now the requirement everywhere. Agile methodology. It's an iterative and incremental model. We create a working software within 2-3 weeks, and then keep on increasing that. So it's a iterative model, and that is a must for every individual to follow that. So for a good success, I'm telling you, apart from coding, you must be good in design pattern. You must be good in agile methodology approach. Because coding is okay, you know this concept, you can implement, but you have to manage those things. So it's very important, and if I get the time, I will give you some examples also to understand project things. If we have any projects, so we will do in that agile methodology. And that is what needed. Everyone must understand this concept, stand-up meeting, to remove the bottlenecks of things, any problems which we are facing, what we are planning today, how much things has been done, how much is left. So those things are a daily discussion basis. So the communications gap doesn't happen. So that we'll discuss. So here we have this create a class, driver class with the main method, and write the logic to get input from the users such as customer details, membership details, and all. Then the design constraints, customer class and the membership class should be present in the com.spring.app package. So whatever you get in proper documented format, you must maintain it. Okay, write appropriate getters and setters and constructors. The class name, attribute name, package name should be same as specified in the problem statement. Do not create any new packages. The XML configuration should be done in the file application context.xml. This XML should be available under the resource folder of the created Maven project. The customer bean in the application context.xml should have ID value as CUST OBJ. Okay, customer object OBJ. So now we will create the classes as per the requirement given. Okay, I have the solutions in this also. Okay, so this solutions I have. First we'll create it, and we'll do it some things, because we are having less time now. Also, we'll try to finish as soon as possible. Okay, so let's. No, not annotations today. Yes. At least get it this brief idea about these things. XML based getters, setters, and constructors. Okay, then the annotations on the next day. Okay, so that at least 1 or 2 examples must be to learn, because this is a starting point. Nowadays technology has become like that. Not only have you done anything in servlet JSP? No one has done anything, right? Servlet JSP. You heard about that JSP servlet? Okay. So nowadays, that is also been skipped in all the topics. Okay, you have heard of it. That's good. Because most of the MNCs are not retaining these things. And they are pure J2EE components. It's not like Spring came, but before that we used to develop our web application with Spring, with Servlet and JSP itself, and the JSTL. But still JSTL is required. Expressions language is required. If we do the Angular things or React things, that's okay. But the Vue component, so what actually happened is that we are not dealing with J2EE component, Java second generation enterprise edition. We are just directly going for the third party for the J2EE component, that is Spring. Similarly, yes, JPA, Spring Data JPA, not Hibernate. Yes. So if you do the if you do the Hibernate, I will take that Hibernate, don't worry. Then you have to implement session factory, begin transaction, all those things. Yes. Backend is required. Now, what is the benefit of that? Hibernate, tell me. It's for the benefit, it's object relation mapping tool. With the getter setter, we can create with that object, we can map it to the RDBMS. Yes, ORM. But in a professional level, we are not implementing pure Hibernate. Means direct Hibernate, I'm talking about. Learning, we will go with the Hibernate. We will use the JPA, Java Persistence API, Spring Data JPA, where you don't have to write those entity factory manager, Spring Data JPA, which is running on the top of the Hibernate. Hibernate is running. Hibernate is the implementation. JPA is the specification. But more abstract things can be achieved with that. Because Spring Data JPA has this CRUD repository, the JPA repository, where find by ID, find by name, find by delete, all these things are integrated already there. Okay. Employees, Spring, is it? Yes. All employees are Spring, but Hibernate will be implementing, but through the JPA. Okay, because if you go with the Hibernate direct things, so you have to write a number of lines of code, and that lines of code will be reduced to the JPA, because already JPA is running on the top of the Hibernate. Hibernate is running at least, but you don't have to write a session factory manager, entity manager factory, begin transaction, all those things, session close, all those kind of lines of code gone. Only just one line. Interface extends JPA repository. Then you don't have to write the line. I will show you those transitions. Don't worry. Okay. So without Hibernate, we can't do anything, because it's a great thing. Without knowing the RDBMS, those who are not good in SQL query, it's the DDL, DML statements, DQL, etc. automatically created. Moreover, you can change the database with the dialect option. Oracle to MySQL to DB2. Okay, these migrations earlier not possible. Why? MySQL has int data type. Oracle has number. If you have done the SQL in one type, other will not support that same query. Creation of table will be different. Data types are different. But this makes our life very easy. If we want to migrate from Oracle to MySQL, I simply change the dialect. It will create the query according to that data type. So that's interesting things will come. Don't worry, we'll show you all those things, because we have limited time, and also accordingly we have to work for that. Okay, so I think today it's not looking possible, but at least if I share this code, you will be able to do it. This PDF. Okay. Yes. So create this class and the dependency injections. See, this example is given. first you create a customer class, customer ID, name, email ID, contact number as it is given. Yes, yes, yes. Please try. It's interesting things. See, I'm explaining also because now typing will take a long time. So unnecessarily, I'm just going to share it to you. This these are the fields which is created. These dependencies you can add. Older version 430. I've added 5. Yes, yes. One of you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Please ask to explain tomorrow. Yes, yes. It's like very simple. All these things are there. Constructor is there. Getter setter is there. Override to string method there. Driver class you do after that. Okay, and constructor injection. So this constructor things uh, here these are the membership. Yes, getter setters visit per years. See, for constructor you have to write constructor arg. Setter injections property name value for the customer. But customer they are asking to set in through the constructor injection. So we have the reference here. In the constructor injection we have to write the value. Yeah. Yes, yes, we have done that today. Yes, yes. I will close it. I will share these things. Yes, yes, yes. Give me a few minutes. Okay. So I will share it. Just give me 2 minutes because it will also take time. Okay. Okay. Just wait, wait, wait. GitHub. GitHub or Git. So I will upload to that drive if you do it, or I will check with that. See what can be done. Just 1 minute. Drive. Okay, you please access it tomorrow. I will do it with because with password and all. I have to remember those things. Okay, so I will share one link, my drive. Okay, new folder. You can access na Google Drive. Okay, okay. Tomorrow onwards we'll do it. Okay, please today because I have deleted all the cookies. I have to again those OTP or all those things taking a long time. So for today purpose, I am just sharing new folder. What is this name? Simply learn, right? One folder I'm creating. Yes, yes. Simply learn folder. Recent. Yes, simply learn folder. Lot of folders are there now, so I'm just okay. You have this one, no? I can't access it. Okay. Oh, that's good. So phase 1 notes is here. I can't do anything. File upload is also not allowing. It's not allowing for this time being. I'm just leave this thing new folder. Uh, phase 1, phase 3. You write right? Phase 3. That's better. Phase 3. Yes, yes. I will ask them. Okay, because I don't have that right now. This tomorrow we'll discuss that. So that is better if I ask them tomorrow. Simply learn. I will check with that. Where is that folder is going? So many I've created now. That's what it's creating, but it's going somewhere. So that link which you have, it's accessible to all of you, right? So tomorrow I will get that. I'm just creating some folder, but it's not going somewhere. working. Now it's there. So for today's purpose, I will do it. Tomorrow onwards, GitHub. File upload, new folder. What is the date today? 11th, no? 11th June 2022. Okay, and here file upload, desktop. Uh, yes. Just after doing immediately, I will do it. Yes. Just give me 1 minute. This constructor injections, I am sharing it, and the code which I have done. Yes. Okay. So this, what in the chat you are asking, guys, the drive is under revamp. Okay. Okay. No problem. In the meantime, temporarily today purpose I have given. So tomorrow onwards I will do with GitLab, because I have deleted this cookies and all. So problem is again I have to. It's not easy like OTP and password. So all this. Yes. For tomorrow we will do it. So I am sharing this project. Just copy this one and in the simply learn folder, I'm just paste it. So after that, zip this file. You know how to extract this? I unzip it first of all. Add to archive, zip file. I'm uploading this zip. So what you will do is first, no, file upload. Where is that? Is just now, right? ti.zip. First you download it. It will come to a download folder. Copy in the C drive. Make one folder, a Spring folder. Unzip this file and go to the STS or Eclipse. Then simply go to the file, import. Look at it. File, import. When you click on import, so it will open this window. Select general EJV Git Gradle install. Not general, this is Maven. So we'll select Maven. Okay. Maven, existing Maven project. Okay. No, not general. General is for normal Java project. We will not select general tab. Okay, it is existing project. This is not required because it's a Maven project. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one. Maven is there. Okay, when you are importing, this will come. Just click this existing Maven projects over here. Select this next. Then browse it. And okay, this after browsing desktop, whatever the folder you have, just select DI. Select, yes. Select folder. Now it will not come because already it is added. It is now disabled here because it is already in this. It will not come. So in your case, it will come next and finish. So immediately it will come in this tree. Entire project will come like that in one click. Don't do copy paste manual things. Not required, because export and import both options are there. Here I have done it manually. Though it's I've copied it like that. Here it's in the file also. We have the export facility to Maven project export. Where is that export is there? Na? Export like this one. Okay, currently it's export one, and this export I think it's only general project it's exporting. So that's you can do it, but leave it. I've just copied it and zip this file, and then you import it. So can you do it now, right? Please don't go with one by one folder creations and all. Right? Yes, yes, yes. So this you do it and that things, and I will share the link 1 minute. That is very important. 1 second. Yes, sir. Share this one. Restricted. Anyone with the link. Editor. Done. Then share this one. Copy the link, and in the chat box, I am sending to all the participants. Okay. So for today purpose, please do this. Tomorrow I will maintain. Okay. This is accessible. Just check once. Any one of you. Okay. Okay. So do this and examples with constructor injections also try. Tomorrow I will explain that concept and through the annotations, bean life cycle, bean scope, then the hibernate things. So lot of things are there. One by one we'll do it as per the time requirements. Okay. So thank you guys and thanks for today's participation. And I will close the sessions for today. Okay.